Hello, hello, and hello. Today is today's report to see what's going on. Um, yesterday was horrible. I have to admit that. Um, Lots of pain, lots of crying, lots of screaming. Um, I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "Stop feeding that kid shortening bread." But no, I went to the doctor. She looked at the wound. I released information to her when I was in the hospital, but no information was ever sent. Also, some of you have been asking about my discharge papers. My discharge papers had absolutely no information. Also, home health came yesterday, and the report she got from the medical center is that I had scrotal surgery and needed to have an infection packed there. So she brought all the equipment for packing a scrotum and nothing for cleaning a toe. Now, let me tell you, the reason we had it is because I had old bandages and also I had Dakin solution. Now, how did I have the Dakins? I had the Dakins from, honestly, taking it out of the garbage. I thought, well, I guess it's mine, so I am going to keep it. Lucky I kept it because they had nothing for me when they came. They had nothing to clean a toe that has been amputated. Um, Under the guidance of Dr. Norris and Julian Kurt, they have been hyper conscious of taking care of my pain management. They have also been um, taking care of my medicine because I'm a little spacey right now. Not Kevin Spacey, so don't worry. I'm not gonna do some bad touching, but some space. I'm a little spacey. Um, Also, I woke up this morning to um, body twitching, which I wish somebody in the hospital could have warned me about that. Um, it's where, like, it just happened to one of my legs, where it will shake or twitch out of control. Um, I tried to eat soup, and I felt like Hoke and Miss Daisy at the end of us driving Miss Daisy, where I am shaking soup and spilling it all over the place, and I am uh, also spilling water as I'm trying to drink it. It was kind of it was it was a challenge, and made Kurt use a lot of napkins. Uh, so that was a little crazy, and I felt like going, Kurt, you're my best friend, because I was just so I was such a mess, such a mess. I'm trying very much to get better. I thank God for Dr. Norris and Martina Fee. They really stuck up for me, where I feel that the other doctors dropped the ball. Like it, I'm gonna tell you, the twitching is really weird, and I'm not sure why it's happening. Um, because you're involuntarily moving while, and also I got to tell you this. I wish they would have said something a little bit about more about the antibiotics, because I'm guessing it's the antibiotics that are making like my tongue sensitive. That's another weird one. My tongue is, it feels like it's been cut a few times. Isn't that weird? But I didn't get to know anything about that. Right now, I'm enjoying a cup of coffee and some Cokies. Cokies always make you feel better, especially when they're from a grandma tin. Who knows what this will be filled with next? Some magical goodies and things like that. Before I had my dressing change today, I had my room smudged with Sant'Apollo. I wanted to make sure that there were as much good spirits in here as possible. No, I'm not allergic to the antibiotics. They went through that already. Um, you don't know, Jill, but sewing supplies for me become divination supplies. I do button casting as one of the magics. Now, I'm going to tell you this as well. In the United States, you are judged by your appearance. Sorry to let you know, millennials, but boomers still do that. Us Gen Xers don't, but the boomers do. And I had a boomer start as my hospitalist. And that boomer, I think, had a millennial. I couldn't tell the age of Dr. Razul, but Dr. Hardcastle is a boomer. Either that or he hasn't aged well. Anywho, I wore this the first couple days. Why? Because if any of you know me, I am a big Jim Henson fan. I am a big Cookie Monster fan. So I love Muppets, okay? And I was wearing my Muppet shirt. Everybody thought it was cute, except Dr. Hardcastle, who made fun of me for it. And I was using to write. If any of you know me, most of the time when I sign things and write things, I use scented pens. Yes, that is whimsical. Yes, that is a little weird for some of you, but it is that's how I jive. So he found that to be extremely bizarre. He reminded me of one of my professors who challenged me for thinking outside of the box. But as I encourage everybody on here, always push the limits of the box. Never be trapped by its confinement. You always want to reach out and go beyond. So he made fun of me the first 2 days, and then when I started to wear tie-dye instead, he started to comment about that. So that was my intro to Dr. Hardcastle and his crew. I don't know if he's listened. He sort of was poking fun because he found out that I have a podcast with Sister Sonia, and he was wondering what I talk about on there. So he was le boomer supreme. He was quite yucky. And I think that he spoiled the way that the other hospitalists worked with me. Um, because honestly, I think that they rushed me too fast. I think they moved me out of there too fast. They didn't titrate me from IV. Oh, yes, Jamie. He was extremely condescending. He treated me less of a person. And where was I? Can somebody tell me where I was right before that? Mind you, I am on pain medicine. She wanted to do Tylenol, which I don't understand. That would have. You thought I was crazy yesterday. I would have been definitely crazy today. Um, but no fever. Yeah, they moved me too fast. I don't know if it's insurance. They could have also sent me to rehab because because I know my insurance covers rehab. I don't know if he didn't like our podcast. I don't know if he even listened to it, but he enjoyed poking fun at me. Um, and don't worry, Serena. No one's gonna break my stride. No one's gonna turn me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving. Um, but it is horrible for people to be treated, especially disabled people, to be treated like they don't exist, like they're almost a problem. Um, they didn't titrate me off Demerol. They took me from IV medicine and just sent me home. I didn't have all the equipment when I got here. I didn't have any of my stuff. I had a walker. That's it. So, what you don't realize, things like going to the bathroom, getting out of chairs, little things. It's just little things that make your life really, really difficult. Um, Even like little bumps, little bumps trying to get over with a wheelchair. Now, I was not given a wheelchair when I left. I was told by vascular not to put any pressure on it. That this wound could not have any pressure. Has to stay elevated, I have to stay not on it. So they handed me a walker and just sent me out. Didn't let me get the scooter ahead of time. Didn't let me get a shower chair ahead of time. Because a lot of you people think that, um, well, it's just, you just have a cut off toe. There's no complications to that. There is no readjusting. But when it comes to mobility issues, I know some people who are listening to this right now understand that little things become little molehills become mountains. Trying to go up a stair, trying to get off of the toilet, trying to just little bumps, and it, trust me, the entrance that I had to go into the doctor's office when I was in pain was, the bump was so big that that Julie nor the nurse could get me in, and it took a patient who was outside able to push me into the place. Um, You have the very best help at home, and I have no words for how inept the hospital was. True, the hospital was quite inept. It, the best way that I described it, that at first I called it a comedy of errors. Just because as soon as I first got in the hospitalist charted the wrong injury. The hospitalist charted that it was my right toe that was injured. So when I met the nurse at night after I'd been checked in, she looked at both toes and she was like, pretty sure it's the left toe. And I said, yes, it's the left toe. Why? She was like, in here, in the chart, they put the right toe. And I was like, no, don't cut off the good toe. I need the good toe. Don't cut off the good toe. Um, and also, what one of the complications were, there were four bacterias in my toe. There was MRSA, E. coli, uh, I have it written down. I don't know what it's called. And Vanco wasn't touching it, so they had to put me on some stronger medications. And I'm on IV medications right now, and that's probably what's causing some of the body issues. Yes, Jen, I got my left big toe cut off, and it was done by Dr. Brown in Bowling Green. And I like Dr. Brown for his very clean cuts. He's very precise. Except the last day, he thought he was debriding a toe that really didn't need debriding. No, vancomycin didn't touch it, Sonia. And I think Mark on here could agree that the right toe did not need debriding, because most of the people, that's Sonia, that's what they gave me. It was like a neon yellow medicine. No, these infections are nothing to play with. They were a lot more concerned than right now I'm going to doctor of infectious medicine who is treating it. I have an appointment with her in 2 weeks. I have appointment with Dr. Brown in 1 week. Trust me, I know these infections are nothing to play with. They gave me pretty strong antibiotics. Right now I'm going to turn on a light because it's getting quite dark. I am currently taking Prostat. It is a protein supplement that is used to promote wound healing. I'm trying to get as much protein as I am. Yes, I'm taking a very strong probiotic. Yeah, I'm guessing it's good. My mom sent it to me and it's pretty expensive. But in the hospital they didn't even tell me to do that. So, and I know somebody brought up the discharge papers. Every medical person who looked at the discharge papers have said there is nothing in them. There is no information. didn't tell me how to dress a wound, didn't tell me what to watch out for, didn't tell me what to expect if I need to go back to the hospital. Oh yeah, trust Jen. I was just talking about how these Sesame Street jammies very much got me in trouble. I'm thinking that and my colored pens. For most of you who know me, who I'm a very whimsical person, always walking on the bright side, but they did not like the bright side in the hospital. At least the hospitalists didn't. Yes, the last day was a shit show. You want a story from the last day? Um, I had to. This is going to be a TMI, but I had to take a BM. I got up at 7 in the morning when the vampires showed up, and I could not go to the bathroom until I saw the physical therapist. Okay? Well, so I am laying in bed, having to go to the bathroom, and laying there, and the nurse came in, said I still had to lay there, and I asked for my pain medicine, because my pain medicine was crawling up. Now, I told them in the beginning, and I told all the nurses, morphine has no effect on me whatsoever. So they had been administering Demerol. Well, this nurse took it upon herself, her name is Kayla, took it on upon herself to administer morphine. And my pain level that was at a 5 started to slowly creep up to the ridiculous numbers. Like number 7, I see Jesus and I'm scared. Yeah, it started crawling up to those numbers, and I had to poop. My foot was hurting, and I was not getting any pain relief. It got to the point where I was in so much pain that I was getting physically nauseous. So I asked for the nurse to administer Zofran, which she did. But I said, is there something wrong? Did you half dose it? Did you give me a different medicine? And she said, no, I gave you the medicine that was in your chart, which I said morphine had no effect on me. I told the doctors, told Dr. Hardcastle, I told Dr. Brown, but for some reason it was still in my chart. So she administered it. And then I decided to call. Dr. Ejaz came in, and I am basically writhing in pain, crying and screaming. For all of you who know me, which I see at the top who's listening, that's not me. I am not a crier. I am not sad when surgery is surgery. You have to do it. This is where your body's at, and this is what you have to do. So, but this pain got ridiculous. And Dr. Ejaz comes in and starts talking to me, and she looks in the computer, and she's like, they administered morphine. And I screamed and cried. I have told you guys, morphine does not work on me. I've told you this since the beginning. And she's like, you have not told me that morphine doesn't work on you. Read the fucking notes. I have told multiple doctors, including another one of your hospitalists. Pay the fuck attention. But, you know, she didn't. But she's like, Mr. Sackwitz, we can administer Demerol as soon as possible. Now, let me tell you about the IV. This is where they put the IV. You can see it, but also notice that it is puffy around it. You see? That is because the medicine was also leaking out of my IV. They put one IV in, and it was not working. I told them all that when they put the saline in, that it was burning. Did they fix anything? No. Did they and I said to each nurse as they came on, if you would like to recannulate, you can. This one is burning. It's working well, but it's burning. And none of them decided to change it. I don't blame them. But I would have preferred if they kept the one up here. But they didn't. So finally, I'm going to tell you, I didn't get to poop until noon. And let me continue with the story. Dr. Brown came in to debride the right toe, which just had a crack that wasn't open. Well, he opened the crack, okay? And he was asking his assistants, which I referred to as the Brownettes, to, what did, he was asking them, what do we call a diabetic ulcer? Now, I have told them multiple times, I am not a diabetic. I used to joke, I would say, I'm not a diabetic, I'm Polish. Well, I've got to tell you that finally they didn't understand the humor in that, but they also didn't understand I am not diabetic, because so many of the doctors came in and said, well, you're diabetic. And I say, no, I am not diabetic. I take labs for diabetes every month. I am not diabetic. I just have IgA nephropathy, and I'm fat, which killed my kidneys. Not the fat, the IgA nephropathy killed my kidneys. The glomerular nephritis, if you want to look it up. And he's like, oh yeah, I know you're not diabetes, I was just testing the girls. So I'm like, okay. But he debrided my toe, and then he said, I wish I had some silver nitrate. He had no gauze, he had no silver nitrate, he had nothing. So he said, let me tape up your toe. He had nothing. So he said, bend your knee and take your foot and put it to your toe and press down as hard as you can. I'll tell your nurse. Well, my nurse did not come back for an hour and 10 minutes. So I am holding pressure on this wound for an hour and 10 minutes, in pain with my leg off to the side, and having to go poop. Then, finally, PT comes in, and my nurse decides that she's ready to reappear. And they look at the toe, and the toe is still bleeding. So then I had to put pressure on it again, because they both look at each other and say, now we can't do the PT because his good foot is now bleeding as well. I'm still having to poop. Just letting you know that. Because now we are at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, having to poo at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we are, it is getting a little crazy. And they kept on trying to force me to take my binder orexia, which I wouldn't take my binder orexia because that would have given me black diarrhea. So if I took that, they would have had a mess to clean up, which would have been totally embarrassing to me. Finally, she tapes it up and I run. I don't run because I'm in a walker and having to basically skip to the bathroom because I didn't have the boot or anything to displace the weight. But the bathroom was an imperative. So that is one of the comedies of errors that happened. Another comedy of error I'll probably tell tomorrow is the doctors about don't put weight. Oh, it's okay to put weight. Don't put weight. It's okay to put weight. And how the hospitalist pushed the idea where Dr. Brown and Dr. Watson said no pressure on the foot. No, I didn't get a wheelchair. I did not get a scooter. They left me with crutches, not crutches, a walker where I had to put weight on. And so I have to also thank some people I am not allowed to tell where they came from, but they gave me magically a wheelchair to handle this weekend. It shows that there are some people in Kentucky who have good qualities. There are good people in Kentucky. Well, I'm about to head off. It's funny, got to tell you this as well. Everybody always work on their meditation skills. When things become between a 1 and 4 in pain, heavy meditation, rosary, any kind of meditation like that is extremely good to help get your mind off the pain. Like when I had my toe, when I was having my bandage changed this morning, after my room was cleansed, I kept on singing We All Come From the Goddess, and just doing that as a round helped my mind focus away from the pain and helped everything get better from there. Well, I am going to let you go. Have a wonderful day. Love one another. Care for one another. Reach out to one another. Pray for one another. And most of all, like Grandpa Sackwitz always used to say, don't be an asshole.